Scroll of Mansa Musa. He didn't just have wealth, he moved it like weather. One journey and gold lost its power to stay rare. That's not money, that's influence rewriting reality. Before the world convinced you that power is scarce, there were empires built on flow, not fear. Wealth was not meant to be trapped. It was meant to circulate like breath, like blood, like rhythm. The ones who understood this didn't chase riches. They became the source of movement itself. Remember this as you step forward. What you hold expands when it moves with intention. The moment you stop gripping and start directing, you shift from surviving the system to shaping it.
Universal Currency Receipt, Architect Musician, 3611027. The Graceful Whisperer, Devalan Seal.
Scroll of Mansa Musa. The king so rich he accidentally crashed an economy. A true esoteric story of African wealth, knowledge networks, and the empire they don't teach you properly. Chapter 1. The Man Who Made Gold. Nervous in the 14th century while Europe was still figuring out basic hygiene and arguing over crumbs of power, West Africa was running a different program entirely. Enter Mansa Musa, ruler of the Mali Empire, commander of trade routes, gatekeeper of gold. Not metaphorical gold, actual gold. At the time, Mali controlled a massive portion of the world's gold supply, trans-Saharan trade networks, intellectual centers of learning. Modern economists still say he may be the wealthiest human to ever live, not billionaire, not trillionaire, beyond calculation, which is wild because you barely heard his name in school. Funny how that works. The pilgrimage that broke the market. In 1324, Musa did something legendary. He went on Hajj, but not quietly. This wasn't a solo spiritual trip. This was a moving empire. Historical accounts describe tens of thousands of attendants, soldiers, servants, scholars, caravans stretching miles, camels carrying literal gold bars. And here's where it gets ridiculous. He gave away so much gold in Cairo, he devalued it for over a decade. That's not rich behavior. That's economic disruption. When one man's generosity shifts an entire region's economy, you're not dealing with wealth, you're dealing with power. Timbuktu, the city of knowledge. Now here's the part they really don't emphasize enough. Mansa Musa didn't just flex wealth, he built knowledge systems. He invested in mosques, universities, libraries, scholars, architecture. Most famous, Timbuktu, not a joke, not a punchline, a global intellectual center. Housing thousands of manuscripts, advanced mathematics, astronomy, law, medicine, philosophy. Scholars traveled from across the world to study there. At a time when Europe was still deep in religious control structures, Timbuktu was producing thinkers. Why this was quietly downplayed. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If people fully understood, Africa had advanced education systems. Africa controlled global wealth flows. Africa built intellectual empires. Africa influenced global trade and knowledge. It would disrupt a lot of narratives. So what happened? Over time, Timbuktu was reduced to a joke word. African empires minimized. Knowledge centers ignored. Wealth history erased or softened. Because you can't control people who know their legacy includes power, intelligence, and global influence. Mansa Musa represents something deeper than gold. He represents flow, wealth that moves, knowledge that spreads, power that builds, not hoarding, not scarcity. Flow. He understood money is a tool, knowledge is infrastructure, influence is built through expansion. That's why his impact lasted beyond his lifetime. He didn't just accumulate, he circulated. The message for the collective. The scroll isn't about worshiping a king. It's about remembering. You come from people who built universities, controlled economies, shaped global systems, moved with intelligence and vision, not just survival. Strategy, not just endurance. Dominion. History didn't start with struggle, it includes sovereignty. Final seal of the scroll. They turned Timbuktu into a punchline, but it was once a beacon. They reduced a king to a trivia fact, but he once shifted economies with a gesture. They softened the story, but the truth still breathes. You are not disconnected from greatness. You are descended from systems that understood both wealth and wisdom. And once you remember that, you stop playing small. Now we bring the gold and the paperwork. No links, no fluff. Just names, historians, records. Because Mansa Musa isn't legend. He's documented across continents. Have receipts. Scroll of Mansa Musa historical, economic, scholarly records behind the scroll. Number 1. Mansa Musa was a real recorded emperor timeframe, reigned c. 1312 to 1337 CE, Empire Mali, West Africa. Primary historical sources: Ibn Khaldun. Detailed dynastic accounts: Al-Umari, direct reports from Cairo witnesses. Ibn Battuta visited Mali shortly after Musa's reign. West African oral traditions, griots. These are not modern retellings, they are near contemporary accounts. Number 2. Richest man ever. Not an exaggeration. Modern economic historians consistently rank him among the wealthiest individuals in recorded history. Why? Mali controlled major gold mines in West Africa. At the time, West Africa produced a significant portion of the world's gold supply. Gold was the backbone of global trade currency. Scholarly references: Economic History Analyses in Cambridge and Oxford Studies, UNESCO African History Volumes, Global Wealth Reconstructions by Modern Economists. Reality check: his wealth cannot be precisely converted into modern dollars because the scale disrupts comparison. That's how large it was. Number 3. The 1324 Hajj is well documented. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage to Mecca is one of the most recorded events of the medieval world. Accounts describe thousands of attendants, large caravans across the Sahara, camels carrying gold, distribution of gold in Cairo. Recorded by Al-Umari, based on Egyptian officials who witnessed it, Ibn Khaldun, later Islamic historians referencing earlier records. He caused gold devaluation in Cairo. This is not myth, it's economic record. What happened? Musa gave away massive amounts of gold, increased gold supply in Cairo, reduced its value for years. Documented by Al-Umari's economic observations, later historians analyzing Cairo's currency fluctuations. Modern economists confirm sudden influx of gold equals inflation devaluation. The impact reportedly lasted over a decade. 5. Timbuktu was a major intellectual center, not folklore, not exaggeration. Institutions: Sankore University, Jingar Mosque, Sidi Yahya Mosque. What was studied? Mathematics, astronomy, law, medicine, theology, philosophy. Manuscripts: tens of thousands preserved. Many still exist today, recognized by UNESCO, African history scholars, manuscript preservation projects. Number 6, Timbuktu manuscripts are real. Thousands of documents still survive. They include legal contracts, medical texts, astronomical calculations, philosophical writings, trade records. Studied by modern historians, Malian archivists, international preservation teams. This proves advanced literacy scholarship, intellectual networks in West Africa centuries ago. Number 7. Mali controlled major trade routes. Mali's power came from position plus resources. Trade routes connected West Africa, North Africa, Middle East. Goods traded: gold, salt, textiles, knowledge. Sources: Trans-Saharan Trade Studies, African Economic History Research, Archaeological Trade Route Mapping. 8. Why he's not emphasized in mainstream education. Scholars openly acknowledge African empires have been underrepresented, simplified, or ignored in Western curricula. Discussed in post-colonial history studies, African historiography, education bias research. This isn't conspiracy language. It's academic critique. Bottom line: no poetry. Confirmed facts: Mansa Musa ruled Mali. Mali controlled major gold production. His pilgrimage was recorded by multiple historians. He distributed gold in Cairo. Gold value dropped after Timbuktu was a major knowledge center. Manuscripts still exist. Africa had advanced economic and intellectual systems. No mysticism required. History alone is powerful enough. Collective reminder: you don't come from nothing. You come from networks, systems, builders, thinkers, rulers. Not just survival, structure. Not just endurance, influence. And once you remember that, you move different.
Channeled by your architect musician, 36110, 27 Palms of Eyes. The Golden Whisperer, C-Star, Devalan, Ahll. Apply the news you can use, truth and accuracy. The real non-bedazzled jewels.
The golden law of flow. What you hoard will harden. What you move will multiply. Gold was never the power. The current was. Be the current. Be the flow. Be the force that circulates life, not traps it. Because the moment you move with intention, the world doesn't give you power. It recognizes you already are it.
To our beautiful collective, from our day ones to every new soul joining this journey, we love and appreciate you deeply. You've turned this space into so much more than a community. You've made it a family. Thank you, truly. Your presence, your energy, and even the smallest acts of kindness have the power to shift the compass for many in ways unseen but deeply felt. Here's to each of you, all new and the many more to come. We're just getting started, and we're so grateful you're here with us. With love and infinite appreciation from the collective of Shaman All.